Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast, your weekly companion to your favorite show on Netflix. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I am joined here by Daily Wilhelm.
Konbanwa.
Jack Cepeda.
Irashaimase.
And Colin Sparling.
Minasan, konbanwa.
And today we have an angry, evil, mean episode slated for you today, even though it's probably not going to be that angry at all. But today we're going to be talking about the things we actually don't like about Terrace House. Because, I mean, don't get us wrong. We make a Terrace House podcast. Of course we love the show, but nothing's perfect, right, guys?
How can we make this better? Like, how can we give some constructive criticism, right, for the betterment of the show? Because they're listening to us, right? Like, all this is being written down, and this is going to all apply next season. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, Yama DMs me on Twitter. He talks about every episode, yeah.
Nice.
Netflix execs are listening,
Oh, yeah.
taking notes.
Intently. But as you said earlier,
guys.
Daly, let's get judgmental, let's get spiteful, let's get entitled. Let's start complaining about the show we like.
What would happen if like the host somehow understood English and somehow listened to our show, and then they saw this episode of us hating on all this stuff about their show?
The only episode they see.
Yeah, like, fuck those guys.
And now that you say that, I feel like we're gonna get this karma where this is like our most viewed episode.
Oh no!
It's the one that like gets automatically recommended on YouTube or something.
Yeah, it goes. It gets in the algorithm.
We say all our criticisms out of love, out of a very concerned and caring place. But that said, there's some things that can fuck off about Terrace House.
I feel like Yama would be the guy. We're gonna watch Terrace House one day, and then you just see Yama intermittently between like one of the scenes and on the show, and Yama's gonna be like, "So have you guys heard about this Terrace House podcast out of the West? These guys sat here and just crapped all over our show. I can't believe the audacity."
I love these fantasies that we're all sharing right now about how anyone's going to listen to this.
Same.
One thing I don't like about Terrace House is that they don't listen to our podcast.
Hey, I know, right? BuzzFeed's going to pick up, like, there's going to be an article, right? They're going to pick up, and the title's going to be "Everything Wrong with Terrace House Podcast." This is going to be the flagship to that.
Oh my God! You won't believe number 7.
Look, guys, here's the thing, right? In my years of being a video game critic and journalist, I've learned one very important thing about critique. It can come from mostly two people: assholes and people who love your shit so much. All right?
But are still assholes.
Maybe. That's, a possibility. But what I'm saying here is that we aren't, at least I hope we aren't, assholes who have just seen like an episode of Terrace House and have been like, "That was stupid. Where's my Western drama?" We've clearly seen a lot of Terrace House. We produced 22 other episodes of this podcast you can listen to where we sing the show its praises for the most part. But we're not doing that anymore. Well, at least today. In this episode, we're gonna lay things out on the table and smack them with wrenches of critique.
Ow. Yikes.
Smack.
We're gonna get it all out there, guys. Come on, ring it out. Everything that bothers you, and then nary shall we mention this stuff ever again. Right? This is catharsis.
I mean, we're probably gonna mention like it's gonna happen, but you know how it is.
I'm trying to be optimistic. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So, does anyone want to throw one out first, or do you want me to start off?
I'll start. I got one off the top of my head. So I know we've talked about to death on this show the editing, but beyond that, another part of the editing that I don't like, though, that we don't talk about as much, and I brought it up maybe once or twice before, is that I feel like we just don't get to see enough of the housemates at work. I think we only get like maybe 1 or 2 shots toward the beginning of them joining the house, and then it's like never again. They just, you know what I mean? We don't really get to see them in the work context a whole lot. So we don't get to, I don't know. I think we're missing a little bit of character building in that way.
Their interactions with their friends outside the house.
Right.
Sometimes there's that, yeah, but it's a small percentage.
It is, yeah. Like Jack was saying, with their not only just work people, but also friends too, because you actually get to see them in a habitat where they're already comfortable with the people around them. So their true character comes out, is what I'm saying.
And not to defend the show with this, but they are trying to cover like 6 people per episode. That's true. Right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking like maybe if there were fewer people, fewer subjects of the show, maybe that'd be more opportunity to get like outside the house kind of stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
I feel like
Yeah.
they tried to do that earlier on in Opening New Doors. As far as what I've seen, is that there were a lot of like outside of the house scenes of people going about their day, whereas now it feels much more focused inward, and it gives this weird sense that like no one has anything other to do than like sit on the couch and stuff, even though I know logically a lot of these scenes of everyone hanging out in the living room or the playroom are happening in the evening or even late at night. But it's starting to feel like they're in one of those reality TV shows where you're not allowed to leave the house or use the internet, and you're just kind of forced to interact with each other.
And also, it seems like to that, like some of them are just broke. Like, you know, some of them are like in between jobs too, and it doesn't seem like they're getting those Fuji TV dollars to go have fun.
And so, you know, I thought about putting that on my list of things I didn't like. The whole we don't see them enough of them outside the house, like at work and things like that. But I kind of feel, especially with work, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but in a lot of ways, watching someone work can be boring, especially if it's done a lot, right? Like even if they have the coolest job, like I'd watch maybe a 10-minute documentary about like this is what their job is, but I wouldn't want a week after week update of like, yep, Brian was in the office again.
And then look at this too, to this point, like I'm gonna forget her name, Ami. Like they spent a decent amount of time hanging out with her and her friends with the eye patch and all that, and I ended up just hating her friends. Her friends really sucked, and I was like, why are we giving them screen time? So it's like, be careful what you ask for here too, right, Colin?
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know. I think it just depends. I guess it's more contextual than anything. I just feel like maybe it's just lately, especially in the later episodes, I feel like they've just been kind of dry on that side of content.
Yeah, I would like to see more what's going on with Soda, but that probably is all like affected by like, you know, stock prices and shareholders. They probably don't want to put too much shit public, right?
Maybe.
I mean, we don't even know the name of the company he works for, do we? I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think so. It's very general. It's very like apps and stuff, I guess.
Watch it be like Sony.
I want to keep.
He works for Sony.
I want to keep the pace of this kind of snappy here. So
Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay. In that case, then, Jack, you brought something up that I have a beef with.
Oh, beef.
And I've seen a pattern here, and it started with Ami. If girls on the show aren't like immediately either like outgoing and quirky, or like Tsubasa more quiet and sweet, then they are characterized as kind of like weirdly sociopathic. It first happened with Ami, where it was just like, man, no one, like she's just so mean. And there were definitely some times that she was pretty blunt, but I didn't see that as like really evil. And the same thing happened with Yui later on, where because she wasn't like being super outgoing or anything,
she had that dark side like, that was brought up.
The dark side of Yui,
by the commentators. Yeah,
I feel like sometimes women get really reduced down into, if you're not super nice and fluffy, then you're evil.
I mean, to be fair too, like I think like the panel overall just kind of is trying to boil down like pretty much everybody to like their simplest form and not really looking deeper yet. You know, I don't know. I think a lot of people get kind of typecast. Like I think even Io too. Like I think like they're like, oh well, he'll do some cool sports stuff or something. Clearly, like no, he's actually in between jobs. He's just kind of going to sit around and be on the couch. But yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, Daly. I think the panelists overall are just kind of quick to characterize and find and put someone in a box to where, oh, that's their role in the house on the show during this short amount of time that they're here, and this is what they're going to do, and this is what they fulfill, and they need to stick to that, or else it doesn't fit my like narrative. Is that kind of like what you're saying?
Yeah, and I don't like that because it's real people, and that's you know when I try to tell people about this show, I'm like it's not like there's the good one and the flirty one and this and that. It's like it's real people just living together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to resist that urge too. Like when you're, because we spend so little time with them, like in our lives, right? Like only a few hours, and we only get what the editors give us, and then also based on what the commentators say, that whether or not we want to believe it, it puts ideas in our heads and like, you know, like, oh, well, they said this about them, so that's how I feel too. You know what I mean? They kind of almost tell you like how to feel about certain interactions and stuff. Not saying that's necessarily good or bad, but it's just it would be so hard to really like get deep down into a character without like dedicating a whole show and a whole hour into a character study of somebody. So unfortunate side effect of the medium almost.
And the way I see it too, this is kind of like a similar problem, right? In that, like, especially with Ami, for example, I truly feel like she got super shafted in her portrayal in Terrace House. And it's part of the reason, like, when you look back at her, you just kind of think like, oh, she was boring and kind of maybe bitchy, depending on like how you feel about her, right? But if you think about it, like, how much has she been on the show, right? She's gone on 2 dates, I think, right? Like,
they both sucked.
One with Yudai, one with Taka.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of it. Like, that and like being courted, like Shohei asking her out and then she reveals she's leaving and he cries. But
I wanted to take you to Disneyland.
Yeah, but it's like she's been reduced to an object. I hate to say that, but just like a thing for guys to achieve. Like, yes, I finally did it. I'm dating this girl, right? Like, she isn't a person. I couldn't tell you what her hobbies are. I actually in this moment could not tell you what her job was. I think she was a student, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
She was going to school.
She was a student.
She was. I remember she had a crying scene because she couldn't figure out what she wanted to do. She was like stuck in that limbo phase.
And people were like, "You need to figure it out."
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing about it. Like, obviously, like, I mean, there's more to everyone on the show than we're seeing. But it's like, as fans of the show, like, don't we have to use what we're given, right? To like make our own judgment calls on that? Like, what else are we gonna do?
I mean, yes and no, right? If this were more Western reality TV style, right? Which we've talked about, I think in like episode 17, if you want to check that out. But in the like, this show, Terrace House, is portrayed as like no script, right? There's no script to anything, even though realistically the producers are probably nudging things one way or another behind the scenes. Like, there's no handwritten script, but they're like definitely influencing the events that happen on screen in some way. But nonetheless, the portrayal of it is these are real people, and not like that fake, these are real people in America where everyone's causing drama and there's confessionals and someone gets the rose at the end and then a guy makes out with 12 girls and everyone's okay with that.
It's so bad.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But they're all real people, Daily. But, you know, it's hard to feel like they're real on American TV, whereas with Terrace House, they're trying to make you think these are real people with many facets to their personality. But at the end of the day, characters like, see, I said characters, people like Ami get boiled down to one basic trait.
Yeah, a caricature.
And it's like, it's that push-pull with me, right? Because certain areas of the show, certain things happen. I'm like, oh, I just want chaos. I just want to see the world burn. This is going to be awesome.
Yama.
I just want Yama. I just want terrible stuff to happen. It's going to be so entertaining. That's the positive I took away from Ami's car crashes of dates, right? Like, they were just so horrible and terrible. And it was yummy to snack on those moments. But then sometimes I'm like, well, no, I want romance now. I just want what I want. That's why I say that's what I was like. I just want what I want, meaning like it's a moving target, right? Because I'm so glad that there could be romance blooming on the battlefield that is Terrace House with Tsubasa and Shion, you know, and then later with, I guess, Noah and Sana, right? But it's like, I want different things. Like, I want chaos. I want stupid, terrible dates. I want dumb people to do dumb stuff because it's hilarious. And then sometimes I want my romance too. So I guess that's another... Maybe we're not talking about what we like about Terrace House. We're talking about what we don't like right now. But at least at least this is a show that gives us a variety.
I just need to ask, are you equating Terrace House to like Metal Gear? Can love bloom on a battlefield?
Absolutely. I'm glad you picked that up.
Good. Yes. Perfect.
Yes. Metal Gear Rex. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another thing with like the editing and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like Robert was saying, basically, we just have to remember that these are people and life as we know it isn't black and white. It's all very gray. So there's definitely a lot more going on behind what we're seeing on the screen.
If anything, I would just hope for an accurate depiction of a person's true role in the house, right? And I guess that's what it makes me upset about the Ami situation, is because she was depicted one way, and I feel like the other 5 housemates felt a different way.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what annoyed me the most.
Especially because like she and Tsubasa got really close, but we didn't really get to see that.
Yeah, they neglected that almost completely.
Like not until like she was leaving and everyone was crying and it's like, I don't know how to live without you. And it's like, why didn't we get to see that?
Yeah, what is this show? What is this show if it's not about people forging relationships?
Right, and I actually want to jump. I want to jump in here because one of the things I really don't like about Terrace House is, especially recently, it's been a huge focus on romance and only romance, and I'm like, but what about platonic friendships? Like the Ami Tsubasa thing that Daily mentioned, like that just gets shoved in at the end there. You know, it doesn't feel real. I mean, the crying kind of helps, but it's kind of like, where has all this been? And you see the same with like, I think with Taka and Shohei, like when Shohei said he was leaving, you know, they have that moment where they like, you know, they drink together, they get drunk, they take a selfie, they shake hands. Shohei can't find Taka's hands through all the tears. It's like, it's a really cool moment, but then I'm also like, but were these guys that close? Do I feel like they got this close on screen? Am I convinced that they're best buds?
Yeah, there's a lot of material there that I think would be easy to show, but I'm wondering if it does get cut just because it's like, oh, there's no like romantic tension in this scene. Like it's just them hanging out together. And that's what we see a lot in Another Terrace is moments of we're just hanging out together. Like Shunsuke and Kaito going on a skate date. And because he like Shunsuke was like, no, I don't really like Kaito. I'm not that into him. It was just fun to go out skating. It's like it felt like that got cut maybe for that reason because there was no tension, even though it was like a fun time. And I thought it would have been fine quality television.
Yeah, just the last thing I want to say is that it creates this annoying narrative of love is winning. That's how you win, is if you find love. So if you have friends, fuck your friends if you're not dating someone.
I mean, but go on the Instagram and watch them all hang out. That seems pretty winning, but you have to look for that stuff.
It's not on the show.
Yeah, it's like, how do I say this? Like, Terrace House almost runs in cycles. It seems like it's like depending on who's in the house and the general vibe of what's happening, there's like a certain cycle that it follows, right? Because now we're in this like rut where it is kind of turning into a race to the bottom for everyone to pair off, it feels like. But we also have spans of episodes where that's not happening. You know what I mean? So like I definitely feel like we have episodes where it's more focused on those friendships and stuff like that, but for like where we're at in the show right now, that just hasn't been the case as of late.
You have to wonder, right? Like, I mean, obviously, I know it sounds like duh when I say this, but when I'm watching Terrace House, I don't feel like I'm watching just a reality show. I feel like I'm watching a foreign, specifically Japanese reality show. And I like that, and that's what I'm there for. You know what I mean? But I'm not like, oh, I'm watching a reality show. I'm watching a very Japanese show. And so the reason I bring that up is like, because you have to wonder, like, of course I would assume that the editors and the whole production team and everyone, they're making the show for a Japanese audience. It's kind of a consequence, almost unforeseen, that it blew up as it did internationally, right? But it's weird because like all these things we're talking about that we're complaining about too are also things that could probably go into like a pile of like why I like it, because it's so different from what I'm expecting. But I guess that's just what I want to say. When I come to Terrace House, it's because I want to watch a Japanese show, primarily for Japanese people, and I just want to like kind of peek behind the curtain for that, right? Well, anyone else feel that way, or no, just me?
I do feel that way. Like a big appeal of the show is definitely getting a more personal understanding of Japanese culture, right? But it's funny that you bring that up, Jack, because Robert, I think it was you that was telling me that apparently a lot of people in Japan don't like Terrace House. They kind of shill it as like, oh, it's a fucking reality TV show. It's garbage TV, blah, blah, blah.
Well, so I'm not going to emphatically say a lot, right? It's just like that's what you hear on the Terrace House subreddit, that some people who live in Japan know that local native Japanese folk don't like Terrace House as much. but there are no hard statistics out there to say one way or the other if it's more popular internationally or locally.
I mean, what it is that you can look up is that it is popular in Japan. It's not an unpopular show. You know, it's continuing to grow. Like the fan base is growing season over season.
Well, but so one thing I did kind of want to hone in on, Jack, is so are you saying that with Japanese people, like they're making the show for a Japanese audience, are you saying that generally Japanese audiences only respond to romance?
No, I'm saying no. I'm not saying I know what Japanese people respond to. I have no idea. But I'm coming to Terrace House thinking this is a show for Japanese people. So maybe I'm thinking backwards, like, well, whatever is on Terrace House must be what Japanese people like. You know, coming from the outside looking in. So I don't know what they like. But I'm like, well, this is the first Japanese show I've seen. So there's another one, like a samurai guy cooking food with the samurai on Netflix. That's a pretty cool show too. But it's like, you know what I mean?
Exactly what Japanese people are like.
Parameters for what Japanese people like. This is what an anime, if we could say.
Okay, so in other words, the more recent focus in on romance might be bad because it tells Western audiences that that's what Japanese people are more into.
I'm not making a judgment. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, I don't know. You guys are making me feel like I'm confusing you guys.
I know.
I'm just saying I think of Terrace House as a Japanese show, and so I think it's edited and created like all for a Japanese audience, and it's like a happy coincidence that other people like it. Like I don't think it's targeting anyone outside of Japan. That's what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, I think on top of that too, I think that partially of what Jack might be saying is that when it gets into these ruts where it just focuses hard in on romance, it also, at least for us, gets away from what makes Terrace House so unique. And at the very least, for me personally, what emphatically interests me about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna like boilerplate it, to me, if I have to come up with one sentence, say like, what do I think Terrace House is about? I think it's about the beginning of relationships, just flat out, whether they're platonic or whether they're
that's the theme.
More than that, it's it's about capturing the beginning of relationships between people.
Okay. I can see that.
That's how I feel
when I try to explain the show to people, usually the first question I get is like, oh, it's like everyone's gonna pair off, because I describe it as there's 3 girls, 3 boys, and they live in this house. And I'm like, not always. People come there with different goals, and but I feel like maybe it is just about who's on, what the focus is, because this last group seems to have been whatever Sota says about like ethnographic research and user experience research, what his goal was, sure, but it seems like it skews more toward romance in this last group, and that's just about who's here at the moment.
I would love to see a content analysis as well of all the people that came in and their stated goals, because they usually say right away why they're there. Yeah. Right. And I'd love to see a percentage breakdown of like a pie chart of how many people said they're there for love versus other things. That'd be a cool thing to
Let's do it. Let's make it.
Oh my gosh,
right now.
it's so much work.
Yeah, we'll put the podcast on hold, everyone. We're going to still record this.
We're gonna do some research and graphic design real quick here. Don't worry about it.
They're building all these expectations.
Stuff.
I didn't say that, guys.
There's going to be a full spreadsheet pack and pie chart pack that comes with this episode, so be prepared to follow along.
You can download it at. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome to our TED Talk.
I want to bring it back to talking about something else I don't like about Terrace House. There's so many models, right?
There is a lot of models.
That was on my list too.
So many models. Like, look, I get it. It's a reality TV show. Everyone's got to be attractive or else no one's going to watch our show. I get that. I've seen real love. I've seen what the other side of the grass looks like, and it's not pretty. But can we have people who are a little bit more interesting? I feel like we get the occasional not model person. You look at Han-san, he's an architect. You look at Sota as he says he's a designer, or a fucking app person, but then you realize like, oh, he was also a Junon boy, so he won a prize for being pretty, like literally modeling, right? And I think the most egregious one to me, and this is just like so annoying, is Boys and Girls in the City, I think. There's a guy named Hikaru Ota, right? And he comes into the house, and I'm not going to spoil too much about what happens to him, but he comes into the house, and like his preview bit of him is he's working at a construction site. He's doing man's man work, and it's like, oh, cool. So maybe we might like get a rugged person, you know, who actually is like crafty with their hands, has worked with wood, etc. And then you see his face. He's pretty, and then he says, "I also do modeling on the side." And I was like, "God,
I know, I remember that, like motherfucker." And so the one exception to that, which we all can agree on, is Tsubasa, and she is not that classical TV reality stereotype, and it was very refreshing to me. And it was that was what made her romance with Shion so good to me, was that it just seemed unexpected based on what you know about reality TV and what you would just expect to happen. But you know, I guess Shion was a model too, so there goes that theory. Like if they were both not models, then it'd be even better. But hey, I'll take that one. That's definitely on my short list though of complaints as well too. Robert, was like everyone's got to be a damn model.
Yep.
It's just like
it's not relatable. No, how am I supposed to relate to that?
It's definitely not relatable. Let's
like seeing them like in their workplace, like I feel like you see the models in their workplace more often.
Work. We call this work.
And it's of course it's a much more visual medium, so it makes sense. But simultaneously, it's like really
daily. They had to paint my abs on for 2 hours. Okay, don't tell me this isn't work.
So
I don't want to put down any models out there. I know the work is hard. I get it. Everyone's job is hard. All right. I'm not going to belittle models just because it's so easy to think, oh, they just stand there and take pictures. Because a lot of people boil down writing to, oh, I learned that in kindergarten. Is that what you're doing for a living? Like, fuck you.
That takes brain cells, man.
Yeah. Well, those are the same people that are writing their posts on Facebook on all caps with no punctuation. So
yeah. I mean, look, I'm just gonna say, being a model isn't as easy as you guys make it out to be. I bet on that.
Yeah,
He's like, I know, guys.
Fair.
Yeah, I know.
That's fair.
Calvin Klein has contacted me. I've done a few contracts with them.
You see this Mega Man hat he's wearing? He knows about modeling.
No, yeah, that's fair. I guess mostly the complaint comes from, I think there's a huge value in like diversity of background on the show, like definitely Tsubasa being a prime candidate of like, we got to see like her play at hockey games, and she had her whole story where, you know, she was like, oh, you know, maybe I want to get into the Olympics. Maybe that's like how hard I want to work, but I don't know whether or not I want to move on to another team. Whereas, you know, sometimes we don't always have those same conflicts with people that are doing modeling.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, like, it almost furthers the stereotype that besides, okay, notwithstanding Shion and Tsubasa, that they're definitely an outlier, and I've seen a lot of Terrace House, so I know how much of an outlier they really are as a couple. So not them, right? But it almost like furthers the stereotype that like pretty people, attractive people are not that deep thinkers in a way, and that's bad too.
I think it's half and half. I think there's some people on the show who are definitely like dumber than rocks, but
just straight up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, it's how it is. But then there are other people who for sure are like, they definitely think a lot more than you would expect. Like I think of people like Burns.
I don't remember him.
You know,
yeah.
Well, actually, he was a dancer, not a model, right? Yeah. Never mind.
Oh, that bad dancer. Yes.
Yeah, the crumper.
He wasn't. Oh my god, he wasn't
Crumping?
good. He wasn't good at crumping.
He was a professional crumper.
I can crump exactly how he crumps right now. It was not
tea
good.
and crumpets.
Yeah,
not different kind of crump, but man,
Oh,
Burns. Yeah, fucking R.I.P.
I don't know. I definitely hear what you're saying, and in the future, I want give me a classic Japanese salary man. I want to see a salary man.
We'd
I mean,
never
that's kind of
see him,
Soda.
though.
That's Soda.
Yeah,
That's Soda.
yeah,
in
but
a way.
Soda was also a pretty boy. He literally won an award for being pretty.
Right. I that's the thing. I think you can find, and maybe that's what they were going for with Soda. Like, oh, we'll find a guy who has those good looks, those classic good looks, but also has like a dark backstory and is deeper and is intellectual. And it didn't work out very well, you know. But I would love to see people that have their own brand of being attractive that are not models. And I'd love to see like a sustained inflow of those types of people and see what happens. I guess I'd love to see like a run of like 10 people and none of them are models. I just want to see what happens. Let's do it once in the show, right?
Same.
Agreed.
I mean, I just think back, like some of my favorite people from past seasons are not models. So they're the ones that clearly stand out to me.
Yeah, Shion, like I said, is the one exception for me. I love that guy.
Yep.
Han-san is still on the pedestal for me. Sorry, guys.
Han-san is so good. He's such a good boy.
He's fine. He's fine.
How dare you?
He's over. You guys are overselling him. I'll put it that way. You guys are definitely.
Yeah. I can't wait for Daly to see it. I want to get that reaction.
He's just a normal guy.
That's why we like him.
Anyone else got anything they don't like about Terrace House?
Yeah, who's next up? Who went last? Who was that?
We're not going in a circle.
We're not going in a circle or anything. I mean, I don't know.
This is Mad Max. Speak up.
So, okay. All right. Let's get real, guys. Let's get really, really real here. Okay.
Really real.
I kind of hate the way people ask each other out. By and large.
Okay.
There are some natural ones, but it just seems so staged. I don't know. There was the way that Noah asked Sana out seemed very natural. And it was a departure of a scene. Like there was just like people were talking and it wasn't like the group was having one singular conversation. It was like people were having all their secondary conversations in the kitchen, but then the camera was focusing on Noah just asking Sana out. And other shit was going on. Like what would happen in real life.
Yeah.
Whereas it just seems very like blocked, very staged. Like I'm going to go here. I'm going to ask them this at this time. So rehearsed. And it just seems so unnatural. And again, it like leads to that really no script, like really no influence on, you know, the events that play out. So that's annoying to me.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I do find it weird how everyone else except for the two people involved in that transaction somehow need to do laundry or take a shower right before the person asks someone out.
Yeah, but then the real times when the two people are really connecting, like when Noah and Sana got lost together during camping, or when they had the vomit kiss, that's like where the real shit's happening. Well, they're not going to show that stuff on camera. Like, how do you lose that shit? That's the shit that is the real shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I could see the vomit maybe. Maybe it might be like in Sana's contract or something, like, don't make me look like I vomit.
Don't make me look like I vomit. I am not the person, the type of
That's more like Jersey Shore real world kind of stuff, right? Like, I guess Japan would try and save face with that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But,
so
yeah,
that was
I mean, that's true. I think that, I don't know, when you have certain moments like that, and it definitely does seem a little too perfect, right? Like there's got to be like this huge setup to asking someone out, and it's like, producers have their hands in it, maybe, just maybe,
Probably.
And then Shohei does it all the wrong way and gets rejected. So that's
well, yeah, because he's Shohei. And honestly, I don't. But when it comes to Shohei, you can't make that shit up.
No,
man,
no. That was my other thing that I disliked was that, and we've talked about this before about like the initial claw kiss grabbing, jaw turning head, etc.
I don't think
and
anybody
how
liked
everyone.
that.
Like, even the panel framed it as, like, oh, it's kind of awkward, but, like, she has a look of a woman now. Like, clearly she liked that. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
That to me is still one of the weird mysteries of Terrace House, right? Because even in the exit interview for Sana, you know, she claims, like, to the camera, oh, I kind of wish Shohei did more, you know? But I think just by looking at her in the episode, I don't think she wanted more, but you know, publicists, agents, PR, all of it's bogged down by that
conspiracy theories of Terrace House.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
much.
even, yeah. And then it was even worse at his goodbye party when it was like,
so
oh,
bad.
haha, I'll kiss Sana. And
LOL,
I'm
JK.
so glad they cut that. Because I would have had, I want to like Shohei. I still kind of like Shohei, but boy does not know how to read a woman's face.
He's just a dork, guys. He's just a dork.
He is a dork.
He's a dumb dork.
I think he overanalyzes things.
Clearly.
We
don't
clearly.
care. We don't have a package for that.
Yeah, and he just completely, I don't know, man. It's like he's in his own fantasy land, that guy.
I still like Shohei.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah, I mean, he's far from like the worst person that's been on the show.
I just think he's a dumb dork, but I'm okay with him.
More dumb dorks.
Maybe
2K19.
Okay, I got something else. I don't like, and it's weird, man. This is a love-hate thing, but I don't know. Sometimes I love the music. Sometimes I hate the music. Sometimes I think the music is so terrible.
Oh yeah,
so,
at least bring that up, but yes,
at least on the international Netflix version of Terrace House, it is just so low budget. So like, where did you get this music? This would, you know what I mean? Like,
Dubstep.
it sounds like 90s almost era, like pop music, which I would almost be all about, but it's just like just generic enough to, you know, never be popular. It's just it occupies a weird space in my brain of like background music, and I just sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it, but it's become a character of the show, and it makes the show seem lower budget maybe than others.
What I don't like about the music isn't necessarily the tracks themselves. Like, to me, they're fine. They're generic. I'm not going to remember them.
They're super generic,
but they're fine. What bothers me about the music is more than half the time when they come in with the music, especially during tense, dramatic scenes, it feels like it doesn't fit. Sometimes it feels like it's making a conversation seem way more dramatic than it actually is.
Right.
Other times it's just like these two are arguing with each other and you're making it sound like they're in a rave. Like, what is happening here?
That's so accurate. Like, it cuts strangely. Like, it's like moment over. And then they keep talking.
Yeah.
Like, was this supposed to transition us into a different scene, or like what happened in the editing process?
Yeah, that is weird.
There's some scenes where I almost expect the people on screen to start breaking out into like the Fortnite cybergoth dance, where they start industrial dancing with glow sticks.
But it does succeed in building that tension.
I mean,
so I'll give them that credit.
It's hit and miss.
It's telling you where to feel, where shit is happening. It tells
I don't want to be told.
Yeah,
listen,
I think
you watch movies and TV shows, they tell you what to do all the time. It's a normal thing.
Yeah, but like and I think we talked about this very early on when we were discussing what we did like about Terrace House.
Ironic.
Is that, I compared it to, like Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. The American version has all these, backtracks and sound effects and dun-dun, whereas the English version, the British version, is just totally silent, other than like maybe some background music sometimes. And you get two entirely different impressions because of those sound effects and music influencing you. And it's like, I want to make the judgment as to whether or not this is a big deal. Exactly. Versus the music telling me like, oh my gosh, you'll never guess what she said.
Yeah.
Right. And
I mean, because go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, to Daly's point, and you said it really well because it was going through my head too. Is that like, this is okay, it may be true in like fictional shows and stuff like that, and movies that they use music to make a more emotional impact. But in a reality TV show, I just don't know that it's really necessary. Like,
I mean, here's the thing. Big Brother didn't have a lot, if I remember right. That was very minimalist.
Really?
I thought so. There was almost no music. It was all just like real, like the whole thing was it's just real raw. You can log in online and see them right now whenever you want to. And I don't know, it just seemed boring. So it's like a give or take, like, I mean, there's going to be great things about Terrace House. There's going to be things that are terrible about Terrace House. And then in the case like the music, like telling you how to feel, it's one of those, like I keep saying, love-hate things. Like I hate it, but it also seems to me like part of like having this terrible, crappy, subpar music is almost part of the DNA of the show. It's almost like part of their brands at this phase now. What is this, the 4th season of Terrace House?
Yeah. I think they nail the music whenever a team or a group goes on a fun date. I always feel like the date music or like they're going out on an outing music, that stuff's fine. It never feels out of place to me, but it's just the ones during quote unquote tense situations that are like,
The problem is not enough Limp Bizkit, I think, guys.
That's true.
Let's be real.
And you guys accuse me of bringing it up every episode.
It was going to happen at some point.
Where are we at now? Is this our 8th episode in a row? Someone tweet at us. Let us know.
Someone's counting? Oh, gosh. Please no.
Okay. So I'm making this statement right now. We're going for the Guinness Book of World Records for most consecutive podcast episodes that reference Fred Durst and or Limp
Fred
Bizkit.
Durst.
Fred Durst.
Stephen Dorff's cousin, Fred Dorst.
He's just
Fred
a guy.
Durst.
You remember Fred Durst's cover? Keep rowling.
Fred Durst sounds like the meme version of Fred Durst, but kind of like in the same vein of like Dolan.
Like Spooderman.
Yeah,
right?
like Spoderman.
Spooderman.
Fred Dorst.
Fred Durst, I cry every time.
Frank Dorst.
Taurus horse.
Wow.
Well, you gotta be somebody like that.
At least whenever we do bring up Limp Bizkit, is a good time, which
right,
is not true when you listen to the music.
I got another one, guys. So a pet peeve of mine is that you don't see the whole house. We have not seen the whole house. They're hiding the house. Some of the house stuff, and I want to see.
Wait, what parts haven't we seen?
There's
How do
2
you
rooms
know?
because I know the floor plan
They're hiding the house.
from the
I've
website.
been in it.
Oh, there's
From
a
the
floor
website.
plan on the
Yeah,
website?
bro. It's on the Instagram. What the hell? Go to our Instagram at Tadaimagram if you want to see the floor plan of the Kurosawa mansion. Everyone listening, go ahead and like that.
Man,
anyways,
I'm so in the loop.
it's all good. So anyways, there's 2 rooms upstairs that they've never shown. There's actually a upstairs bathroom.
I mean, they
they've
hardly
never
ever show
shown.
the bathroom, period.
I know,
I
but they
understand
never
maybe
show
not
that one.
showing
And
the
there's also a
bathroom.
room up by. If you remember where Maya, is that the one who liked Noah too much? Maya?
Yes.
Mayu?
Mayu? Okay, yeah, there's 2 of them. Okay. Yeah, remember when she went upstairs to cry because Noah liked somebody else? Is that what it was?
Oh,
Noah
you mean
and
like
were dating?
upstairs and in that little nook there?
Yeah, when she went up to cry in
Yeah.
the nook, there's actually a room right by there. They never show it. There's also hidden rooms downstairs that they never show. I'm guessing, obviously, for practical reasons, it's probably where the production staff is and where like the control room is and all the monitors. So I
Cameras.
get it, but it's just a pet peeve.
I mean, that would break the illusion, right? It's like the Terrace House members just have dinner and then they go have a conversation in the production room. Like,
Dude,
yeah,
I
pull you out of
wonder,
it.
I wonder how many people are like there besides them. Like, what if there's like 20?
I've wondered that. And sometimes I'm like, it would be cool if there was like, another Terrace episode where we saw what they see, what the house members see.
Like we just got a
Because
tour.
Sometimes because definitely sometimes that there's got to be a cameraman in the room in order to set up these shots. It's
sure.
not just like hidden cameras, etc.
Oh, yeah.
But simultaneously, I think that would almost like ruin the show for me forever because I'm gonna like just know that there's this Japanese professional cameraman standing there watching as Kaito and Shunsuke set up a skate date.
Yeah. It's the illusion of reality TV.
Right. And there have been in the past very small snippets of the show where you can actually get a glimpse at a cameraman. And it's very specific shots and very specific episodes. And you really have to look out for it, but they're there.
It's kind of like that scene in Poltergeist, in 3 Men and a Baby where you see the ghost.
Those are very different movies.
I know, it was weird. Yeah.
Poltergeist. No, wait. 3 Men,
3 Men and a Baby, yeah. I've got 3 other complaints, guys, but I've been talking a lot, so.
Yeah, actually, Daily, Colin, do either of you have any?
I mean, I think you guys like hit the mark on a lot of mine, honestly. I can't honestly think of another one off the top of my head, but I will continue scraping my head or going through my head.
I think, and this might just be what's going on right now, and I'm going to complain about it because that's what this episode is for. I would like there to be more age diversity as well, because I really thought that was an interesting dynamic to see in like the first parts of Opening New Doors. And I don't want it to become like all these young people, because even though I am also a young person, it's starting to become like almost
like college
unrelatable.
Revisited. Like college
revisited. I want to see people in different walks of life and see their different priorities and the way that they go about living.
I'd like to see some older people, not because I'm older, but just to diversify the field.
Yeah.
And
also, Subasa's dad should be on Terrace House.
Subasa's dad should be on the panel.
He should be the 5th panelist. Like, Shono-chan's fine, but get him out of there for Tokyo and bring Subasa's dad.
All right.
Wait, do we
so
know Subasa's dad's name?
Tsubasa's dad, duh.
It.
You know, I'm pretty sure they've said it at least once or twice.
It's on his
I don't
birth
remember
certificate.
it.
I think
Tsubasa's
it starts with
dad.
Toe. I'm not sure.
No, we'll have to look
Tsubasa's
into
dad.
that. Yeah, well, that
Okay.
works for now. Man, now I want soba. So something else that annoys me here is when people get way too damn comfortable, way too lazy, and they just live in the house and just seems like they're never going to go anywhere or do anything. And the show doesn't force them out somehow. So I hate just lazy like freeloaders that just chill there the whole time. And it's annoying and it's boring. Most importantly, it's boring.
So do you want
Get out of the house or do some shit. Do some cool shit.
You want more producer intervention with that?
No, I just want people. I don't want people to just freeload and like live on the couch and like just. And they're not going on dates or not doing like something interesting. They're just like kind of taking up space, I guess.
But like who are you thinking of? in that?
Armand comes to
'Cause
mind after he got rejected.
Armand went on a date. Like minor spoilers for Boys and Girls in the Cities. Armand went on a date with like almost every girl who came in the house.
And I don't think he sealed the deal with anyone. Yeah, I don't know.
But he still went on. He was still doing shit.
I don't know. I don't like when people are there too long, I guess. I like when people are there with a purpose and not just living in the house. Taka was definitely getting there. I think he overstayed his welcome. Not his welcome, but he overstayed like his natural arc, I guess.
I think it was the moment after he kind of just like destroyed Aya. Just, you know, hi, I don't actually like you. I actually really like someone else.
Let me talk to you
and
for
I
5
might
minutes how I'm going to
her.
marry this chick that's not you.
Yeah, she might be the mother of my children, not you.
Yeah.
But you're good. You're fine.
In fact, I almost accidentally called you her name just now.
Yikes.
But anyways, that's my pet peeve. What? You're telling me I'm not annoyed by that?
You're fine. You're fine. It's just I don't agree.
Okay, I don't like when people stay too long. Last one. I wish there was some sort of interaction between the panelists and the cast. Because they never interact. And it's so
that's
fascinating
true.
to me when you hear the stories about when like Tokui comes back and like saw someone like at an airport or something like that, ran into someone in real life. I love those stories. They happen very few and far between, but sometimes they'll meet outside of the confines of the show. But I would love for there to be something there. Like I said, maybe the path out of the house after they get picked up by the taxi goes to the panel, and then they have their own like little conversation there. Something like that. I would just love to see some like, actual interaction. Or like a interview or something like that. I think would be cool.
Yeah, that's something I would like to. I think for me, the way I'd want to see it implemented is the season after. It's like, let's say in Aloha State, every week someone from Boys and Girls in the City was on the panel for one episode, and they'd rotate.
Yeah, something. I think there's an opportunity here.
I wonder though, then if that would make the panel hold back, because it's like eventually I gotta look this person in the eye.
Sure.
Like Yama especially.
Yeah.
And even you know, Chendel-san, she says some things out of nowhere sometimes, and I feel like if she had the knowledge that she was eventually going to meet this person, we wouldn't have those sudden moments of like, what did you say?
And the hope is that we can have
Right.
both. The hope is that they would still be themselves and say what they want to say, and then later have that awkwardness. But it's like human nature. Like, I think, of course, there's no way to avoid like some self-censoring if you know you're going to see somebody eventually. So it's almost asking too much. So I get it, and I get why they don't do it. But it'd be cool if they like busted it out like every now and again, I guess.
It'd be cool.
Right.
Like,
I was just gonna ask. So, where did Boys and Girls Next Door take place? For context,
Shonan. I was about to say Shohei, but I'm like, no, that's not right.
where is Shonan? Do you know what part of Japan?
It's a little it's a little south of Tokyo. It's kind of like it's a smaller city, but it's known a lot for its like surfboarding.
Yeah.
And by smaller, meaning only 10 million instead of 100 million people.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like the coastal suburbs of Tokyo.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, what I was gonna say was that like I don't want them. So far we've had Shonan and then Tokyo and then Hawaii, and now we're in Karuizawa, and now we're going back to Tokyo. I really hope they don't hesitate in future series though to really explore Japan some more, because there's so many like diverse places in Japan. Like there's just so many different climates and so many different landscapes in Japan. I really hope they explore places maybe like Okinawa or Hiroshima.
Yeah, Okinawa seemed like a good one.
Yeah, or like even setting it in Kyoto. I would be really surprised.
Kyoto,
yeah,
great choice.
Hokkaido.
I agree with that. Yeah,
Go north. Sapporo.
They've got a lot of options. I agree, and I think that maybe like Vancouver could potentially be a play down the road too.
Right, but I think now we're kind of
Japan.
Yeah, Vancouver, Japan. I think we're kind of getting into like what we want from Terrace House rather than what we hate about it.
That's what I was gonna say. I want to rein us in because we're getting into what we want instead of what we don't like about Terrace House.
I want my wants.
Right. I know, but this isn't your wants. This is your dislikes.
I hate
that they live in such a nice house because I'm jealous. I want to live there.
Accurate.
I hate that they just throw each other's dicks in each other's faces in the bathtub. That's just rude. Is that not a rude thing? I don't know. The panelists kind of...
I hate that. I definitely feel like it's consistent, at least from what I've seen so far. It usually, like, cleanup and stuff consistently falls to, like, one or two people. That ain't cool, y'all. That ain't cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I hate the episodes aren't long enough.
Really?
I think they're fine.
I would always like longer. I would like a solid hour.
Damn it, Robert. I caught that.
Yeah, we heard you. Don't worry. You didn't squeeze that by. What else? Come on, guys. Rapid fire. Anyone else here hate anything?
Dude, honestly, I fucking love this show. I don't know about you guys, but I love this show. Even despite its shortcomings that we've talked about today. I mean, I think we covered all the shortcomings, all the problems that I have with the show.
I hate that everyone can't drive. That's weird.
That's really dark sometimes.
That's just hating Japanese culture. That's not hating Terrace House.
I guess it's just so annoying where they're like two people. The whole house depends on two people to drive them anywhere. It's a big responsibility.
Listen, if I didn't have to drive, I wouldn't. I would have never learned how to drive, but that's not feasible in America. It's totally feasible in Japan, though.
Yeah, I grew up in Seoul. I didn't learn how to drive till I was 21 because I grew up in Seoul.
Okay.
The shots are really dark sometimes. I just want that out there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, especially the ones that are like at night, which I mean, no duh, right?
Again,
the ones
at
night are too
but
dark.
I don't like it.
Well, they can't. I mean, to be fair though, they can't have like artificial lights set up everywhere. These people live in this place, like you know what I mean.
Night vision.
So they were probably really strategic about the way that they lit the house, so that like they can still turn lights on and off or whatever, still like sit in a room with comfortable lighting, but still have enough lighting for them to get a decent shot.
No, yeah, for what it is, it's absolutely genius. Like my undergrad, I have a bachelor's degree in video production, and like I can't even imagine the effort that it took to get like lighting in low light situations. I still don't like it though.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just start having spotlights in every single room and just like the full blown like photography lighting.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it, guys. I think everything else besides what we said is perfect about Terrace House. How about that?
Here's the thing, right? Is we're at the end of this, and again, we all like the show, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to finish this recording. We're going to be like, that's it. We did an episode.
Mission
and then we're gonna watch an episode of Terrace House, and at the end of that episode, be like, "Fuck, I forgot like 4 things I don't like about this show."
Well,
it's just stuff that comes up, and you're like, "Oh, that was annoying," or "I didn't like that. That was dumb." But then you kind of forget it because the holistic package that Terrace House delivers you is very solid.
I mean, yeah, it's building a fan base for a reason. I think there are some complaints here that are just like preferences, right? Like, oh, I wish it was like this. I wish it was like that. But there are some that will genuinely make the show better. Like telling an actual true, like, beginning narrative, like an arc. Like showing these relationships as they happen, not just come back sloppily and be like, oh, yeah, they like each other. Remember? Like, no, we don't. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I think
that'll make the show better. Yeah.
More friendship.
Power of friendship.
More friendship and less like... I'm hoping that people don't just like leave the house as soon as they get rejected, because then like that's also enforcing that we have to fall in love to win. It's when people just leave all dejected after they get rejected.
Right.
It's like,
because a lot of people come to the house with so and so goal in mind that may not be relationship related, get rejected, and they're like, well, my other goal's out the window too. So fuck. All right, bye guys.
There it is. And and the life lesson is, if you get rejected, Just work on you. Worry about
Nope.
work on you.
The lesson here is if you get rejected, you have to leave your home.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
You have to find a new home.
You have to move
out.
Well, guys, look like I'm leaving. I bid you adieu.
Yikes.
But what I'm saying is, like, don't worry about what other people do. If you ever, and I'm sure people already know this, but if you get rejected, just worry about yourself, your own shit, control what you can control, and she'll take care of itself. That's my pearl of wisdom for the week. The end.
Words of Wisdom by Jack Sabeda.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring ourselves home, guys. We've done it. We've expelled every single bit of everything we hate about Terrace House.
Comprehensive.
Yeah, we've balled up all of our hate and angst into one hour package.
Give in to your anger.
Thanks, Palpatine.
Yes.
We hope this was worth the clickbaity headline.
Yep, exactly. But let us know what you guys may or may not like about Terrace House, because I'm sure, like, come on, as much as you might be a fan of the show, it's hard to say that it's perfect, right? Like, nothing ever is, right? Ocarina of Time isn't perfect.
Definitely not.
Neither is
Shut the fuck up. Watch your damn
Definitely
mouth.
not.
Oh shit. Oh god. But like in the same way, Terrace House isn't perfect either. So let us know either in the YouTube comments or check us out on our Facebook group at Tadaima Clan. What do you not like about Terrace House?
How
Let
can
us
the
know.
show be better? Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah. If you have any questions, comments, theories, anything you want us to read or discuss on the show, email any and all of those things to us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com. Next week, we're going to be back on Monday. It's the Monday before part 6 of Opening You Doors. Get excited. And we're going to come back with a quick little refresher on what happened in part 5 to catch you all up. And then check us out on Tuesday, where we're going to drop our very first episode of, well, as a spoiler cast review of part 6. This has been Tadaima. Thanks for listening. Itakimasu!
Email us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at TadaimaGram, on Twitter at TadaimaPod, and check us out on Facebook and YouTube at Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast.